Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to a new video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the power of prophecy and delusional self-belief. A couple of days ago, I was reading Freud's interpretation of dreams, which I'd certainly recommend to you if you're somewhat interested in psychology, the unconscious, and understanding more about the psychic processes that go on within the psyche. But I came across something in the book that was quite unexpected. Freud talks about prophecy, and I didn't quite expect this in a book that was centered on interpreting dreams. But nonetheless, it sparked within me a curiosity to further explore this concept of the power of prophecy and delusional self-belief. So what happened was, when Freud's mother was pregnant with Freud, a prophet came up to her and told her that she was going to conceive and give birth to a great man who was destined for great things. Freud asks himself, very honestly, is this where my own desire for greatness comes from? Because it's very hard to pinpoint exactly where the desire for greatness and the drive for greatness comes from in individuals. Because it is certainly more pronounced in some than others. And what is the difference? And so, firstly, we want to talk about how others' beliefs about us reinforce similar beliefs that we carry about ourselves. Alexander the Great had a similar experience. He went to an oracle and he was told that he was destined to conquer the world. In some way, it's impossible not to believe that this didn't impact his belief in himself and in his own ability to do exactly that. Being told by that oracle exactly what he wanted to hear probably gave him that extra bit of drive that was necessary to push him beyond his own limits, to continue to conquer and to be one of the greatest generals to ever live. And so would they have become who they were, Freud and Alexander the Great, if it wasn't for a prophetic belief that they had in their own capability to reach greatness? For anybody to reach greatness, really, they need to believe that they are capable of doing so, because all action stems, firstly, from belief. Our beliefs, they reside within us, but they come out in our actions. And the beliefs that are most prominent and most deep-seated and embedded within us, those will be the most prominent and most apparent in our actions. If you've never heard of something called the self-fulfilling prophecy, basically what it is where an individual will give you a label. So an example that is commonly used to illustrate the self-fulfilling prophecy is, let's say you're in school and you've been messing around, you haven't been paying attention in your lessons and you're falling behind. And your teacher tells you that you're going to fail. Well, maybe then you actually step up your bad behavior. You actually go into that narrative. You play into their belief and into the label they have given you. You acquiesce to it and you take it on and embody it as your own. This can be really dangerous because if you acquiesce to whatever label anybody puts upon you, well, then you are constantly at the whim of other people. But even as we do grow up and we mature and we become less impressionable with our maturity, and as we develop into individuals of our own, with our own moral compass and our own values, and our own beliefs, and our own goals, what still happens is the remnants of these labels, of these self-fulfilling prophecies, of these judgments that have been imposed upon us by others, they're still there, probably operating at an unconscious level that's not readily apparent. We have to dig deeper to understand how they are deeply affecting us in subtle but powerful ways. This actually happened to me when I was younger. My teacher would say like, oh, you're a terrible student, or you mess around too much. And I'd actually play into it because I'm like, yeah, I'll show you, how bad I can really be. I'll prove that you're not even close to the label you have given me. I'm going to outdo it. I'm going to outperform it. It can also go the other way though. Like, for example, this also happened in school for me when I was getting to around 15, 16 years old, when my GCSEs were coming up and my teachers were warning me, you're going to fail, you're going to fail. And I was like, actually, I'm going to prove you wrong. But this is because I developed more of a sense of what I wanted to do with my life rather than how I can impress other people or how I can fit into the boxes that they have put me in. And so, in essence, it is an issue of maturity. And that's why when we are younger, we are much more impressionable to the beliefs of others and to the prophecies that they impose upon us. But I do think it's very important. Like, for example, if you're an older person, if you're an adult, and let's say you've got a younger brother or a younger sister, or you work with young people, to try and spot their talent and try and tell them that they are talented. Try and reinforce for them a belief in their own potential. Because if you can see it, then you can teach them to be able to see it. You can show them what they may be missing. And that might be the very thing that leads them onto a path to greatness. And it could be the catalyst for great things. But it could also be the catalyst for terrible things. And so we need to be careful with the beliefs that we impose on other people, especially young people, because we need to know that they will probably end up acquiescing to those beliefs. And that's not to say that I'm so powerful that when I put my belief on somebody else, they're just going to acquiesce to it. But children are impressionable. We all know this. We need to be very careful with what we tell our children. Very, very careful. But if we can see this in the sense of the self-fulfilling prophecy, then we understand that the power of prophecy, we understand the power prophecy has in determining our life's course and direction. And I want to bring the power of delusional self-belief into this as well, because there have been plenty of examples, specifically for me in martial arts and in the sporting world, where a delusional self-belief has ended up being extremely instrumental in getting an athlete to a world championship. Two great examples from mixed martial arts that have really stood out to me are Ilia Topuria as of recent, and obviously Conor McGregor. These two guys have many similarities in their career trajectories and in their fighting styles actually, which is quite coincidental. But nonetheless, the issue that we are focusing on here is their belief, their unwavering belief in themselves and in their ability to obtain what they wanted. Three things in common that these guys had. They acted as if they were already champions before they actually were. So they were almost willing it into existence. They believed that they were already there. And so there was no striving, there was no desperation, there was no doubt, because in their minds it was already accomplished. So that's the first thing. They believed so heavily and so fervently in their desire that it actually became a part of who they were right here and right now. Number two, they would openly express that. They weren't scared to say how much they believed in themselves. They weren't scared to hedge their bets on themselves and to gamble it all on themselves. And what that does is it exudes confidence and competence to your competition, to the people around you, and it actually makes them believe in you as well, especially when you keep proving it time and time again. And number one, these guys are confident. They're really confident. They're quite brash, and they're willing to risk looking foolish or stupid by saying that they're going to do what to a lot of people is unthinkable. And so there are many similarities and traits that successful individuals share that we can learn from and that we can actually imitate and implement into our own lives to amass our own successes in whatever field or endeavor we are pursuing. Without these things, these individuals would have not become the people that they are. And yeah, Ilia Topuria was told, that he had real potential in martial arts, as was McGregor, by their coaches, and that's what, started their belief in themselves. but they also worked relentlessly on their craft, on improving their craft, and on being a better martial artist, constantly improving. And that gave them confidence in their abilities. And so I just want to talk about this because a lot of people these days, when they see someone who really believes in themselves or someone who's really confident, I think they become quite envious of it, because everybody wants to feel like that, right? Conor McGregor famously said, he said, at the end of the day, you've got to feel some way. So why not feel like the best? Why not feel like the greatest to ever do it? Why not feel like you already have everything that you want? And there is some real wisdom in that. There is. But I'm trying to figure out if that would be worth cultivating within yourself and wouldn't be of negative impact to the people around you and to yourself. But I don't see how it could be otherwise. I don't see how it could be a negative to you for you to absolutely 100% believe in yourself and believe in your capability to achieve what you want to achieve and in your capability to be great. It all starts with a small seed of belief, and we need to be careful with the beliefs that we have, because they are seeds, and from them will grow fruit according to the seed that has been planted. So we need to be very careful with the seeds that we plant and think about what is actually going to arise as a result of that seed being planted. We shouldn't do it unconsciously and mindlessly. We need to be very mindful and very conscious of what we are planting in our minds, in our bodies, in our lives. Without a tad of delusional self-belief and without a prophetic vision for your future and for greatness, would you be able to become great? I think not. I really do. Like I said, I don't see how it could be otherwise. And so that's what I want to bring to you today. Believe in yourself. Create a vision of a future you'd like to have. Take consistent steps towards building that future and believe in yourself absolutely every single step of the way. Whether someone tells you it or not, whether you have to tell it to yourself, whether it begins as faking it and then it becomes actually an ingrained belief, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you actually get there. And you need to do what you need to do to get there. It's as simple as that. Some people aren't going to like that. It's going to rub some people the wrong way. You might lose some friends along the way, but if that's the case, then those people really weren't made for you anyway, were they? So you haven't really lost anything at the end of the day. I think that's all I have to say, but just think about this. Just think about where the desire for greatness comes from, what facilitates greatness, body and mind, and what we can do to create a conducive environment outside of ourselves, but most importantly within ourselves, to be able to develop greatness of our own. And I think prophecy and delusional self-belief certainly have their place as instruments facilitating greatness. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure that you like and subscribe and turn notifications on so you never miss another video like this. Also, share this video with someone you think might benefit from it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.